Greetings and welcome to another video. The other day I finished reading a Star Trek novel by John Vornholt, and the story in question is Sanctuary, an adventure of Captain Kirk and the USS Enterprise. And I enjoyed it. It was a really good book, to be honest here. Now, before I continue, I'm going to read what it says on the back of the book here, so you've got an idea of what the story is about before I continue talking on and on and on. So yeah. The planet Sanctuary, a fabled world in unexplored space, which is thought to be the last refuge of the persecuted, home to both the justly and unjustly accused. Though its name has been translated into every language in the galaxy, Starfleet has never known its exact location. When the crew of the USS Enterprise is assigned to capture a dangerous criminal named Alk Rex, their pursuit takes them to an unexplored sector of space. Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and Dr. McCoy continue the pursuit in a shuttlecraft, following Alk Rex to the surface of a planet Sanctuary. Soon, Kirk and his crew are locked in a life-and-death struggle on the mysterious planet, which harbours deadly secrets and never releases its visitors. I purchased this book a few years ago from a charity shop in Shrewsbury. I was there with a friend of mine, and my mate pointed out a few other Star Trek books that was on the shelf at the time, so I picked them up, and I finally got round to reading this particular novel. And like I said, I enjoyed reading it. It was a really good book, to be honest, from start to finish. 17 chapters, and it's definitely worth reading, in my opinion. I don't know where might be selling the book nowadays. You might be able to find it online with internet shopping, or specialist science fiction bookstores, either in the high street somewhere or a specialist website, or maybe a Star Trek outlet selling merchandise or convention or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you don't already have this book and you're interested in collecting Star Trek novels, especially the older ones like this one with the Adventures of Captain Kirk, I definitely recommend you get your hands on it. Yeah, so with that in mind, we're gonna get into a bit more of what I thought about the book. So yeah, for the first page of chapter 1, action is already in a state of play. The Enterprise is already chasing down a pirate ship, and being on the edge of Federation space, it's not long before the pursuit of this pirate vessel takes the Enterprise into uncharted territory, and then soon after that to this uncharted planet, which we soon discover is the planet Sanctuary itself. Yeah, nice little drink this is. WKD. Not too bad, to be honest. So yeah, while I'm making this video, I'm going to be having a few sips of this. So yeah. Anyway, the pirate vessel makes a run for the planet, which, as I said, we later find out is the planet Sanctuary itself. And it's clear that the ship is going in for a landing. Captain Kirk hands over command of the Enterprise itself to Chief Engineer Scotty, who stays in orbit of the planet to monitor the situation as best he can. While that's going on, Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and Dr. McCoy take a shuttlecraft down to the planet's surface in hot pursuit of the pirates, and while giving chase, an escape pod is ejected from the pirate ship right before it explodes, crash landing into a mountainside. Kirk decides to land his shuttlecraft and takes Spock and McCoy on foot patrol, seeing if they can find where this escape pod landed. In the end, they don't find what they're looking for and return to the shuttlecraft, only to find the shuttlecraft is missing. It's disappeared, basically. At this point, a representative of an alien species called the Senites introduces himself to Kirk, Spock, and McCoy and gives a basic introduction to the Senites. The Senites are in control of the planet Sanctuary. They arrived a few centuries ago and converted the place into the safe refuge that legend says the planet is. And yeah, Kirk responds, okay, fine, but we're not here looking for refuge, we're here looking for pirates. By the way, do you know what's happened to our shuttlecraft? Where is it? At this bit of news, the Senite representative takes a dislike to Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, and, words are exchanged, and the representative disappears. That leaves Kirk, Spock, and McCoy to face the concerning nature that chasing after the pirates they've come looking for is no longer a priority. The new priority is escaping the planet and returning to the Enterprise. And if they happen to find the pirates they're looking for and take the pirates back to the Enterprise, then that's just bonus points. But the priority is getting back to the Enterprise in the first place. Now, as things proceed, it becomes apparent that technology doesn't work on this planet. Well, it does, but only technology that is created by and operated by the Senites. That's the only technology that works, and chief among this technology is this force field that surrounds the planet. The main function of this force field is twofold. Firstly, it seems to be the driving force that makes sure that non-Senite technology just doesn't work in the first place. And secondly, any form of aircraft or spacecraft flying within the atmosphere of the planet is shut down and is forced to land. And that happens because ship functions stop working. It doesn't matter if the technology in question is Federation or Klingon or belongs to any space-faring nation you can think of. At the end of the day, as I said, only technology created by and operated by the Senites works. Everything else shuts down. So Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are having to travel on foot. Between them, we've got maybe one communicator going on, and they're hoping to get into a position where they can find a gap of some kind in the force field in order to communicate to the Enterprise and find way off the planet. And they go from settlement to settlement to settlement to achieve this objective. Now, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy come across a series of settlements. Two main settlements are directly controlled by the Senites themselves. Every other settlement that we see in the story are more independent. These independent settlers, or these independent refugees, for one reason or another, want nothing to do with the Senites. They don't trust the Senites, partly because the Senites have a complete monopoly on anything technology, and everyone seems to find that really suspicious. On top of that, we later find out in the story that the Senites harbour a very dark and disturbing secret. You see, the original representative of the Senites informs Kirk, Spock, and McCoy that they are genetically engineered, and because of that, they're a sexless species, which means they can't have. Well, as Spock figures out, that means that the Senites can't reproduce. They can't have their own babies. And so it leads to the question, how does the Senite population survive if they can't have kids? There's some speculation, but at the end of the day, no one really knows, until later on in the story, at this one Senite settlement, they later catch up with the pirate captain that they've been looking for. And yeah, the pirate captain they've been looking for has similar suspicions and concerns about the Senites that many other people do. And the pirate captain agrees to work with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy to find a way to escape the planet. And an attempt is made, but it doesn't go well. It backfires. But in the process of their plan failing, they discover a very, very horrible secret about the Senites. As it turns out, Sanctuary isn't much of a sanctuary after all. The Senites have turned that planet into a jail, into a prison. And as we discover, how they manage to keep their species alive is they gather up the settlers they've acquired, the refugees, criminals, and everyone else who've arrived on the planet Sanctuary, whenever possible, especially in the settlements that the Senites directly control. Well, the Senites, using a mix of tranquilizers and stun guns and whatever may knock everyone out, make them unconscious, and drag the unconscious bodies of their captives to a giant medical facility where they begin the process to brainwash their captives and begin a series of very severe medical procedures to transform these people into Senites. So brainwashing and very severe medical surgery, people are transformed against their will and against their knowledge into Senites. And yeah, by all accounts, by the sounds of it, this entire procedure cannot be reversed. Once you've been transformed into a Senite, against your will, no doubt, then that's it. You're stuck like that for the rest of your days. And you've got no say, no input, no choice in what's going on. It's happening. So, when this discovery is made, the pirate captain helps Spock, Kirk, and McCoy and a couple of other people escape this facility and causes much chaos, and rightly so, in the process. From there, the escaped people, or the escaped prisoners, find their way to one more settlement, one more independent settlement, which is not under the control of the Senites. And it's a graveyard of vessels, basically. As I said earlier, any vessel that people arrive on is confiscated by the Senites, and the Senites strip that spacecraft, that aircraft, of fuel, weapons, supplies, stabilizers, and whatever they don't use for themselves, whatever the Senites don't keep for themselves, well, all the rest of it is put in this junkyard, basically. And in this junkyard, a group of independent settlers are living and do the best they can to salvage and scavenge or whatever they can to see if they can make anything fly. And the trick is making something fly to get past the force field. Once they get past the force field surrounding the planet, then these people are home free. They've escaped this prison they found themselves in. So when Kirk, Spock, and McCoy arrive, they are in time to see one such attempted escape bid, one such launch. And everything seems to be going well on this launch until it hits the force field surrounding the planet and they get destroyed, and the occupants on that vessel killed in the process. It's at this point Dr. McCoy himself comes up with a really, really ingenious plan to get off planet. He realizes that the trick isn't so much getting into orbit and going from there. All they need to do is get high enough above the energy field. All they have to do is get above the force field, and with their one communicator they happen to have left with them, contact the Enterprise that's still in orbit. And from that point, the Enterprise can use the transporters to just beam them back on the ship. So how do we go about that, doing this plan? Well, like I said, it's quite ingenious, but I don't want to give that away because anyone who wants to read the book, I don't want to spoil it for you. But considering the circumstances they're in, it's a pretty genius idea, in my opinion. But overall, that's the main thing about what I've taken away from this really good book. Sanctuary isn't, and never was, whatever the rumours and the legends claimed it to be. It's just another prison, a more dangerous prison, owned and operated by a far more sinister gang of thugs, if you will. So in the end, when Kirk, Spock and McCoy do get back to the Enterprise, they call out the Senites. They manage to contact the Senite representative that they spoke to at the start of the story and make it clear that their secret is out, that what they're doing is morally and ethically wrong on all accounts, and they will make sure that the whole galaxy knows about what's going on. Now, if people still want to choose to go to Sanctuary, if people want to exercise their free will to go there and work with the Senites, then that's up to the individuals to choose. That's for individuals to decide. And Kirk gives the Senites themselves a choice. He makes it clear you cannot force upon such actions that you're doing without people's knowledge, without people's consent. Now, if people want to choose to become a Senite, then that has to be an informed decision and a consent decision. It has to be done with information and consent. And if someone wants to go through the procedure, then that's up to them, as long as it's informed and they consent to it. If not, then obviously they have to be left alone. And how Kirk goes about delivering that at the end of the story, I really did appreciate, and was the right way to go about ending off with the situation at hand. But yeah, overall, like I said, I enjoyed the book. At some point, I'll have to reread the book. I think that'll be a good thing to do, to read the book again at some point, but we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, thank you for watching this video. I do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, be safe, and I'll see you all soon in the next video. Take care and goodbye.